Joining us now, she is the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. Of course, she's been part of the staff for a long time, but with the new title now, I speak of head coach Bonnie Tholl joining us here on In the Circle. Coach, nice to have you on the show.
Well, I'm excited to be here and excited that softball season is just a few days away.
Has that title hit you? Have you gotten used to now being called head coach?
It's a question I've received often, especially recently with the season approaching. I think it's been a nice transition. I don't necessarily, even though I hold the title, I don't necessarily see it as a huge shift. I think that for years I've been working to help make Michigan great, and so I'm going to try to continue just to continue on with that thought process. Right? It's not necessarily about my title and my new position, but it's about the trajectory of Michigan and the success of Michigan softball. And so that's how I'm going to look at it the whole time.
Have you thought about what it's going to be like? How you're going to feel Thursday in Tampa in the dugout where they're going to ask you, hey, what's the lineup card and everything? And you look around and, oh, wait, no, there's no Hutch right in the dugout.
Absolutely. And I was thinking about this weekend. It's the first time for actually the entire softball world to really see Michigan softball without Hutch as the leader. And that is not just a change for the rest of the softball world. It's a change for me and my staff. And I think that the really the values that she has instilled in us as coaches and the mission of the program has remained the same. But yeah, I think there's going to be a little odd moment when it's me walking to the umpire meeting as opposed to Hutch, me delivering the huddle lineup as opposed to Hutch, and I'm always going to have a little Hutch in me, that's for sure. But it's a moment. The transition was interesting because, at the same moment I had been excited about my new opportunity, but also we all dealt with the emotion of never being able to share the dugout with Hutch again. And so that was a big moment for our staff as well.
What was that like for you this off season when all that went down? Because it caught everybody off guard just by the timing of everything. Because I was there at the regionals, and she was emotional, and people wondered after that regional, could that be it? Because she was extremely emotional. But then time went past, and everybody's like, all right. Nobody thought anything of it until the news dropped on the Wednesday before the final week of Athletes Unlimited. What was that like for you as all that was transpiring?
Well, of course, I had a little bit of a heads up, as did our staff. And, it was an emotional moment. And as I alluded to earlier, dealing with an opportunity ahead of me and an opportunity for me to really to carry the torch that Hutch so brightly lit. Um, there was excitement and there was nervousness. And and I think that at the same time, Hutch was excited for us. But as moments went on after that, a few weeks into it, I think that there was some sadness. There was some sadness on her part. Um, not that she had retired. She said that she could stay in the dugout and coach the kids and come into practice every single day. But it was time, all the other items that come into play as the leader of a college softball program, it was time to pass the torch on. And um, I guess it was a wave of emotions, Eric, and that's the best way I can explain it. It was happiness and nervousness and a little bit of sadness, all rolled together. Um, but we're moving forward, and this is really not just my moment. I said this to our alumni and being a Michigan softball alum. This is a moment for all of us, all Michigan softball alumni. In this moment, and this program is still Carol Hutchins' program.
Had to be to an honor and emotional too that you got picked to follow to take over the program.
Well, I feel quite honored, right? I feel quite responsible as well. And I want, as I visit with the student athletes, I want them to have the outstanding experience that myself and my teammates experienced here at Michigan 30 years ago. And it's our job to continue to move this forward and to be a steward of the program and to make sure that Michigan continues to graduate student athletes that are ready for all the challenges they face in the real world. That we bring people here to Michigan that want to compete for a national title. And all the rich traditions that have been established over the past 46 years, right? It's my responsibility to keep building on those traditions and keep building on the history. And I'm excited to do so, that's for sure.
So once you got the job, give us what was it like those first few weeks and months as you get into ready for the fall and stuff? Because you got to make now it's your decisions. You've got to make a hire to add to the staff, which you would do that with Amanda. Just talk about that process as now you're and then going into the fall and thinking about, hey, maybe these are some things I'd like to have tweaked or change a little bit, or some things to keep. What take me through that process when you took over the program and the decision process?
Sure. You know what? Being a part of the program for the previous 28 years as an assistant and associate head, I shared the same mission and the same values as Hutch. But how we conduct business on a daily basis and our personalities are a little bit different, and that's okay. And I think that the student athletes, the transition has been so nice. Well, first of all, because it was natural. Of our 20 student athletes currently on our roster, we have 9 newcomers, Eric. And it's a great time for me to become the leader and to share my message every single day. There are a lot of young ears and new ears to listen to the new message, but with the same mission. And so I think that transition in that sense was easy. But as I said, how I conduct business and how I communicate with my student athletes, it has to be consistently me. And so what my student athletes have seen over the past 6 months is who they've known in the recruiting process and who they've known for the past 3-4 years since they've been on campus. And they just hear my voice a little bit more when it's time to deliver the main message. And then I refer to my staff. Jen Brundage has been alongside myself and Hutch for over 20 years. And so she's rock solid. She's considered one of the best, if not the best, pitching coach in the country. She's produced more All-American pitchers than any coach in the country. And so that was a consistency that was going to remain. And then when it was time to bring on a new assistant coach, I wanted somebody who was familiar with the values of our program, in the rich history of our program. And it was a natural fit for Amanda Chittister. And how lucky am I that she was retiring at the same time that a position was open. And I'm thrilled to bring her back to work alongside Faith Canfield in the other assistant position. And they have been a dynamic duo with us in the offensive realm. So that's been exciting. We're familiar with each other. We trust each other. So that has been easy in that sense.
You mentioned a lot of new faces. What has it been like blending in all those new faces with some of the returners that you've had back?
Well, I think the biggest question for a lot of people looking at Michigan softball will be in the pitching staff. We graduated, we had 100, we had 2 pitchers in Bobby and in Stracco that had pitched just over 300 innings for us last year. And as a team, we played 380 innings. So you understand the workload that they've had, and softball world understands that as well. So I think the biggest transition will be in the circle, but I believe we have very capable individuals, and Lauren Dorkowski, who, just pitched 44 innings for us last year, but it's her time to flourish. And I think under Jen Brundage, she's flourishing. She's moved from throwing 64 and bumped up her velo, um, you know, immensely. And then on top of that, we brought in Jess LeBeau, who was as one of the top pitchers in the Mid American Conference, um, was a member of the Gulf Coast League that won the championship down this summer in Florida in that league, and she has increased her velocity as well, 3 or 4 miles an hour under Coach Brundage. And so we're going to lean on them. We're going to lean on them a bunch. And so I think that's a big question mark and a big transition for a lot of people in the softball world. But we've always had strong pitching, and we're going to rely on that. And then we have some old and new faces, right? We're going to lean on Lexi Blair. Lexi Blair is a Big Ten Player of the Year and just an incredible athlete. She's back for her 5th year, and she looks as powerful and as athletic as she ever has looked. And so we're going to lean on her. And then we're going to blend that a little bit with a graduate transfer in Ellie Mataya, who was a ACC performer at Boston College and comes to us as a graduate student. And so she gives us that really good experience. So we're blending it a little bit with some of our young people that are new into our program, that don't have that college softball experience. But it's right now it's the vibe is really good because we have just a great blend and a great dynamic of kids in that junior and senior class, whether they're brand new to the program or they've been here for a few years, that have done an outstanding job of leading this team in a day-to-day and leading the clubhouse.
Well, you're going to learn a lot about your team early with your schedule. You're going to open with USF in Tampa. You're going to play a tournament in Leesburg in the first weekend. Then Clearwater for the big tournament there where you get UCF, Louisiana, Oklahoma State, Mississippi State, and Duke before going out west to Palo Alto to play in the tournament with Stanford, where Boise State's in that field as well. You're playing at the Judy Garman Classic tournament there, and before coming home middle of March. That's not even talking about going to a tournament in Lexington, Kentucky. This is a challenging schedule here. You're going to learn a lot about your team, but I'm assuming you like it that way before conference.
Absolutely, and we want to make sure that we're facing the best. If you want to play at the highest level and get to Oklahoma City, then it starts with your OKC mindset, and that mindset is in how you schedule as well, right? And tournaments that you've chosen to attend and the opponents you've chosen to place on your schedule. We are, and I think that we'll be challenged, and we're not going to look too far ahead. We're going to take it one day at a time here, and obviously, myself and our staff is preparing for this weekend. Done a nice job with all the duties and of scouting our opponents and of really making sure that our team feels as prepared as possible. And, and that's a mindset. If you feel prepared, you give yourself a chance. If you feel unorganized going into a weekend, going into an opponent, you're going to play unorganized. And so I think that's the first thing we have to see. I mean, we've had a chance to obviously scrimmage within our team and face our own pitchers, and we're indoors. And so you'd like that first weekend to find out some of the things you need to go back into the practice setting and work on. That's not necessarily how it works. You are forged into the season and you learn on the fly. Some of the things that you can't practice in a controlled setting, they're going to occur in a game setting. And then, we're just going to have to rely on our experience on the field at the time and our athleticism. And then, we'll learn from there.
Was coaching always in the plans for you? That it just kind of happened? For those that don't know, may not know, you were all Big Ten performer at shortstop at Michigan from '88 to '91. In fact, you were, I think, the first Michigan player ever to be an all Big Ten performer. I think all 4 years. I think you were there. Was coaching part of the plan? Was it just kind of how did you get into coaching?
It's a great question. The answer is yes. And I come from a large family. I'm the youngest of seven children, and I'm the first one in my family to go to college. And so I had no idea, Eric, what college was about. I only knew that I came from an athletic family, and I only knew the joy and the passion I had for the game. And so when I was in high school, well, some of my classmates were thinking about, going in to college, majoring in business or in the sciences, going to med school or becoming a teacher. My sights were always on becoming a college coach. And I just knew that it was very fulfilling for me to be in the athletic arena. And, you know, my father was a football coach and a wrestling coach at a grade school level. And I watched the impact that he had on so many children and so many of other families that it made an impression on me. And so I think that I'm doing what I was meant to do. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, you were meant to play softball too. I mentioned you were the first Michigan player ever to be a four-time All First Big Ten performer. You were still got some among the mix in some of the record books there in Michigan. Describe you as a player.
Describe me as a player. So I think today, with today's technology, I may have hit maybe 2 or 3 home runs, but I'm definitely a table setter. I was a 4-year leadoff hitter from the right side. I didn't strike out very much. But I always considered myself, even though I was a leadoff hitter, I always considered myself more of a defender. And I played shortstop for 4 years here at Michigan. Absolutely love the game. So you would see me on the field smiling often. And I think that's kind of what I like to impart on my group is show that you love the game. Show how much, if you have passion for this game, it's okay to show that. And so that's kind of how I was as a player. I would say I was dependable. I would say I was not very powerful, but I understood the game. And, if I can impart that again on my group to pay attention to the details of the game, because that's where you will find the greatest success is understanding the game within the game. So
How would Bonnie Tholl the player and Bonnie Tholl the coach get along if they were together?
um boy, I'm pretty consistent. Like I'm pretty consistent personality. So, even though I think I've become brighter and I have more wisdom than I did 30 years ago, I'm pretty consistently um I'm calm and consistently so. And I think that it would be a really good blend. And I think that at times, you know, I think the coach would like to push the players' buttons a little bit to flex her muscles. But, you know, I'm pretty much what you see is what you get with me.
What was it about Michigan that drew you there? Because I would imagine, even since you've been coaching and moving forward, one of the unique advantages you have is you went to that school. So when you're telling a recruit why you should come to Michigan, you're speaking from the heart. You speaking from experience. That's a great, there's something about that, message when an alum is saying it versus somebody else. So I'm just fascinated how you were kind of your experience when you decided to go to Michigan.
Sure. Boy, this place has had quite an impact on not just me and my life, um, but it's had such an impact on my family's life as well. Um, I point to three things, Eric, that have shaped the person I am today. And one is that's growing up in a big family. You thought of other people before you thought of yourself. That's just how it is. My faith and the University of Michigan. Those three things have shaped who I am today. And so that impact, and when I sit across the table or the couch from a prospective student athlete, it's easy for me to sell a belief system, because I'm not selling a product, I'm selling a belief system. And this place impacts people. And we talk about, oftentimes it's not the place, it's the people. It's the people that make the place. And we don't just talk about family here. We act like it. And I think that's a big piece to it. I often say to the people that I coach and to those that I'm looking to bring in, this experience is not just what you can get from the Michigan experience, it's also what you can give to the Michigan experience. And as long as we keep bringing people in that believe that they have something to give and to enhance this rich history and want to be a part of that rich history and that enhancement, then we're going to be on the same page. We're going to get good quality people, good quality families. And so it's easy for me to talk. I can get really emotional actually talking to recruits about Michigan, because it's special.
Definitely very special. Special conference you're in the Big Ten. You were part of the All Big Ten All Decade team as a player. I'm curious, how have you seen the Big Ten change since you've been coaching over the years? I know I spoke to Kelly Kovac of Ohio State head coach. She says the league is better and deeper now than it ever was, including when she was playing. What's your thoughts on the league in the present terms?
I would absolutely agree with Kelly. And as a sidebar, I was Kelly's host when she was a student athlete, prospective student athlete. So I helped to recruit her to Michigan. I think the conference is incredibly deep. I think our pitching last year was better than it has been in a very long time. And then we're just seeing the athleticism. We've always had student athletes be attracted to the Big Ten Conference and the Big Ten University academic environment. From all corners of the country, people have come to the Midwest. And so, we have been exposed to so much talent and diversity within the conference, but I do see it better than ever. People are athletic, and in the circle, people are flexing their muscles. And, we're seeing, the people, the likes of Daniel Williams at Northwestern, and some of the pitchers that Kelly Kovac has had, and Penn State's pitchers in the last few years have been outstanding. And of course, you look to Minnesota over the years with Pfizer, and of course, we've had quite a history of pitching prowess ourselves. And so I think it's great to see last year. I want to say we had 7 teams that made the NCAA tournament. We're going to build on that. I think the best is yet to come for our conference, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
That's kind of wild that you hosted Kelly, and of course now your first Big Ten series as head coach is going to be against her. Well, I mean, that's kind of ironic.
Well, and that's the family I speak of, right? When our athletic department did a dual press conference to announce Hutch's retirement and the hiring of myself, we had a bunch of alums that came into town and came to the press conference, and Kelly was one of them. And so when we talk about family, that runs pretty deep.
That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. The Big Ten, you mentioned 7 teams in the field. You new head coach in Michigan State, with Sharana McDonald taking over there. Man, the state of Michigan. I mean, so you and Sharana are kind of in the similar boat, following, taking over for Legends there.
Absolutely. And Show is going to do a great job. And she has a lot of great energy. And I know she's brought in a really quality staff. And, and we're going through this together. In the fall, we played a couple of teams, and one being University of Toledo. And I went to the plate, and across the batter's box there was a new coach in Jess Bracamonte. And so I look around the country, especially here in the Midwest, there have been a lot of new faces and new places in the coaching ranks. And so um, it's fun. It's fun to get going. I actually, a few months back, had a realization and talked to Kenny Erickson. I said, "Hey, you're going to be my first head coach game." And looking forward to sharing the field with you at that point.
That's tremendous. Yeah, I know he's looking forward to it when I spoke to him about it. And is there a sense of pride too? I mean, you, Juwan Howard, Jim Harbaugh, all Michigan people coaching respective programs, among others in the sport there. Is there a special bond within the coachings there on campus?
I was just counting the coaches because even beyond that, we have coaches that are Michigan grads here in about 5 other sports. And, it says a lot about us. More people have gone away and come back. I've been here for a long time, so that hasn't necessarily, it hasn't been my route. But Ann Arbor is a neat place. It's a neat place to attract student athletes who are academically focused and athletically superior, who want to compete every single day at the highest level of college athletics. And so we do have a little bit of that bond of former Michigan student athletes, and it's something that you hold true to your heart. We always say this: you don't come to Michigan for 4 years, you go to Michigan for life, and that holds true. And it's fun to see some of the success my colleagues have had when they've come back to coach, or they've been here a while and coaching in their sport. So you bet.
Last thing before we let you go, what's going to be the keys for this team as the season gets going for you to accomplish your goals and have the success that you believe this team can have?
Well, I think early success is good, right? Confidence is goes without saying. That you get confidence every single day from seeing that your preparation has paid off. And we're going to take little steps, and it doesn't mean it's not going to be without challenges and setbacks. But as we move forward, we're going to try to stay in the present. And some of the mantras of our team this year have been: you come to practice every single day to be compelled to get just a little bit better every single day. And we're going to be feisty. And sometimes when we don't feel at our 100%, we're going to lean on that feistiness. And if we don't have as much feistiness, we're going to look towards our teammates to show us how to be feisty for that day, whether we're facing an All-American hitter, or whether we're stealing a base, whether we're approaching, a ball in the outfield. I want a feisty team, that's for sure. And we're going to continue on with our OKC mindset, because to us, Oklahoma City is not just a destination, it's a mindset. And nobody gets to Oklahoma City wondering if they're going to get there. They prepare every single day, and they attack the day every moment that they have. And so I think that's the key. The key is that we don't lose who we are, what we are, and that we chose a team sport. We're going to train together to win. We're going to train to win and not necessarily just train to play as individuals. And that's going to be the key. And I said to the team, I said, there are going to be moments that I'm going to make mistakes. That's going to occur. But we're going to grow this thing together, and we're going to lean on each other in every moment, in every inning, and that's how it's going to work.
Well, Coach, we look forward to seeing your team playing starting this week in Tampa, then on to Leesburg, and then Clearwater. So at least you'll get some Florida sun. It's a little chilly by Florida standards, but I have a feeling you'll all be okay with that. Thank you so much for taking the time on game week Honored to have you on the show, and good luck, and definitely look forward to crossing paths with you during the season.
Okay, Eric, thanks for having me.